And ultimately, we were able to discover that, unfortunately, a big company like BP failed in their responsibility to maintain and upkeep a chemical plant, and thus failed to keep safe all the workers at that plant.
Well, a lot of people saw the deposition testimony, some of that you all took, many of the depositions of the CEO, the BP guy that was there, and some of that deposition testimony was not pretty, because we found out later that a lot of facts that weren't made known to the public, that they had known about for a long time, resulted in people's deaths. And we've got the same kind of thing, I think, in a sugar plant that occurred in Georgia here recently. And also we're going to talk about another case that you're looking at. But when you went to go, a lot of people don't understand how the process, if you could break it down a little bit more, you went to go investigate, but how easy was it? Did you just walk on site?
No, it's not very easy. We have to file documents with the court. We have to ask for special protective orders and permissions from a judge here in Texas to give us access to the chemical plant. Because as you can understand, when these explosions occur, there's folks investigating. The injured workers are all taken to the hospital or clinics or out in their home. Nobody's there representing their interests. And when we get hired, that's our job, to represent the injured worker, represent the families of the folks that have passed, and to protect their interests. And not only to protect it, but to uncover any secrets, any problems, any issues that occurred leading to the explosion, so that the family can all become aware of what happened. Not just the small group of the company that's investigating, but all the whole world.
Well, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox here, Benny, but I mean, let's just lay out the truth like it is. Over the last several years, the ultra-conservatives and everybody that has been backing them, the special interest groups, have tried to close the courthouse doors. So ladies and gentlemen out there, what is true in South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley and Laredo, and trying to get good venue and trying to get a fair day in court, is doubly so in certain other areas of the country. And so when you have firms like this that don't advertise but by word of mouth, and you have other lawyers that refer over because of the results they've gotten, we've got to appreciate that. As we've often said on the show, that if you listen to that media inundation of saying lawyers are bad, lawyers are bad, lawyers are bad, then you buy into that and you give away your Seventh Amendment right to trial by jury, as is your right. And what we have happening is, more and more, we're separating the lawyer from their client, and that's what we're trying to prevent. And this show, as you've seen in a previous show, bringing on T. Gerald Treese, who is an advocate, who is trying to encourage people to go to law school. You know, Benny, how many times have you heard people say, there's too many lawyers in our society? I mean, and I always respond, well, there's not enough that are going to take on the tough cases. And how do you respond to that?
Yeah, there's too many lawyers. Like there's too many doctors, like there's too many teachers. There's not enough good lawyers. There's not enough good teachers. There's not enough good doctors. We need folks that are going to represent people when they're down. And our Constitution, our Texas Constitution, our laws have been established to help all folks that have been injured. Not just the ones that have money, not just the ones that have privilege and opportunity, but all folks. And we're here as lawyers representing those folks and those families.
Well, and a lot of people, have tried to put out there in the media that, we should abolish the contingency fee agreement, where a person that's poor, that can't afford a lawyer, cannot go ahead and bring a case against a corporation, that they should be paying just like the corporation. But it's apples and oranges when you have a ton of defense lawyers against a few men and women that are standing tall for their client, and you've had to upfront the cost. And a lot of people don't appreciate that it's not only the expenses and the attorney fee, but it's also you have to upfront all of that first. And can you tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, the system of contingency fee that is available here in Texas and in most states in the United States, it's a system that allows, like the story goes, the David and Goliath story, it allows David to get a slingshot with some stones in it to be able to shoot back at Goliath. If you have David and Goliath, that story that a lot of us know about, and David doesn't have some stones to shoot that slingshot,
right,
David would not be able to win. And what happens in the system we have established with contingency contracts and opportunities for lawyers to represent families and individuals when they've been hurt, is that puts stones in the slingshot of that David. And David can then shoot against the big companies.
That's right, man.
And
Preach
against
it.
Goliath.
That's right. That's right. Because, and I've seen, you not only advocate, but you've also write a lot. You're a prodigious writer in the Texas Bar Journals. You were a teacher before,
Right.
and first and foremost, you're a family man. And so a lot of people say, lawyers and lawyer jokes and all that. And, you got to have a tough skin. But I've seen you in depositions, I've seen you in trial. You got to have a tougher skin when you're taking on these companies that really want to bury the client, want to bury the secrets, and especially you had 60 or upwards of 60 of these BP or the British Petroleum explosion clients that happened in Liberty City, 3 years ago, going on 3 years?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And it's not like many people think rich plaintiff lawyer firms have hundreds of lawyers that are defending these cases. And in actuality, it is, David, because you're a handful of lawyers that are taking on multi-million-dollar cases.
That's right. And what I try to tell my children, I try to tell people I speak with, I try to tell folks in the media and all over, wherever I go speak, is that we're not any different than you. We're not any different. We're not different, you and I, and the folks that are listening and watching. We're just folks that were brought up by our parents the same way everybody else. We were lucky enough to get an education, and we're here doing something to help folks that are down, help folks that have been injured, and help folks that need help. And because of our opportunities that God has blessed us with, we're able to help you and help folks that are out there. And all it takes is a little preparation, a little education, and a few stones in our bag to knock down that Goliath when folks have been injured or mistreated by someone.
Well, and what we're trying out on the program also, as always, is try to bring out not only different lawyers with various skills and their advocacy that have achieved results, and we're honored to have, and thanks for having us, by the way, up here in Houston, but the thing is that we're also trying to educate the public on their own legal rights. Many people don't understand about the statute of limitations, that you only have a certain amount of time to bring a lawsuit. And even now that the legislature has changed a lot of laws, even children can be preempted or prevented from bringing a lawsuit. And so how do we get across that message? I mean, you've written about it, and we're on this show today, but I mean, for those, we've got about 10 minutes left in this segment, and I want to focus in on that, on the advocacy, and how do we educate Texas citizens and those around the United States and those watching around the world on the internet about our system. How do we get that out? Because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, our system is a very special system in that we have as judges the jury. And we believe our United States Constitution and our Texas Constitution is firmly committed to the jury system. And we love the jury system. We love folks representing the community and judging the differences that we may have, the conflicts that we may have in a lawsuit. What we must understand is that there's a disbalance, there's an unbalance sometimes between the big companies and the injured worker. And what we've had the opportunity to do is to represent individuals, to be advocates, to be mouthpieces for them, not only in English, but in Spanish. We have a great group of Spanish speakers here that represent the Spanish workers that are the ones doing a lot of the work and getting injured. We represent them. And what we must say to you is that you must believe in the jury system. You must believe in this trial by jury, and then allow folks to have their conflicts resolved in trial.
Well, and you're listening to Benny Agosto. He is a partner at Abraham and Watkins, and you can reach him toll free at 1-888-222-7211. That's the number to call. That's 888-222-7211. And they're going to be putting that on the screen here. Our producers are. But don't forget also, you guys that are liking to go on the internet, you can go at www.abrahamwatkins.com. And what's your email, Benny, in case somebody has a specific question or maybe has a concern about a case?
You can reach me at abrahamwatkins.com or at bagosto at abrahamwatkins.com. B as in Benny, Agosto at abrahamwatkins.com.
And that information will be on your screen because it's important to many, as we've talked in past shows with T. Gerald Treese, who's a mentor of ours, and I congratulate him again on his 100th victory, nationwide titles. But what he instilled in all of these lawyers, and many of which Mr. Storles and Mr. Agosto are a product, as I am, of graduating from South Texas College of Law, what he instilled was that it's not all about lining your pockets. It's not all about making money. It's about helping out your clients. And it may sound trite, and it may sound corny, but it's the truth.